All right, chat, we are ready to go with Timespinner Randomizer with Sin Pyro. Take it away, Sin.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me back again. It's nice to be back here. My name is Simpyro. I'm a variety randomizer streamer. I will be running Timespinner Randomizer. Timespinner is a fantastic game. I love this game so much. It is a Metroidvania game, and the randomizer is like one of the best randomizers I've ever played. So I am happy to be presenting it at the marathon today. With me is Jim the Eternal. Jim, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Jim the Eternal. I do a lot of variety streaming, and I am a big fan of the Time Spinner Randomizer. So I'm happy to be here, helping out, doing comms, and I'm going to be taking most of the speaking time while we're doing this run to spare poor Pyro's sinuses. Um, but yeah, I'm happy to yap away about Time Spinners. So ready when you are.
I am ready to go. If you'd like to give me a countdown, feel free.
All right. Well, in that case, let's hit that button on 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
So we've got the flag settings for this is going to match up with the most recent tournament that occurred, minus one particular flag, and I'll talk about that when we get there. But in the meantime, what we're going to see is the typical start for the randomizer. We're going to get a couple of orbs from Mom over here. Umbra Orb Plus is a heck of a start. So the first thing to talk about this is Damage Randomizer. We've got a lot of different settings kind of enabled here. Damage Randomizer means that any given orb can have its attack either doubled or cut in half, depending on whether or not it's plus or minus. So getting a plus melee orb to start with is pretty cool. That's great that we have some sources of damage in the beginning. Otherwise, we're just going to be spending a lot of time dodging enemies. But this will give us something to fight with, so that's good. One of the other settings that we got going is right now we're starting in the past instead of the present. The map for this game is kind of divided into 2 times, basically. And we have the inverted start on, so we're starting here in the past. We have gotten a Mind Refresh Ultra from our girlfriend, Nell. Shoutouts to Nell East. And starting with Succubus Hairpin. All right, so this is already a blessed run. Succubus Hairpin is the double jump, which means that not only is a lot of stuff more open, a lot of the movement is going to be a lot easier. This really kind of speeds things up in terms of how you get from one place to another. And of course, this being a randomizer enables a bunch more stuff in logic. Double jump is a big deal. We're still going to be on the lookout for a source of infinite vertical. There are 2 sources of infinite vertical, and when one of those pops up, we'll talk about it. But double jump is a great start. Let's see, where else? So we are now in the past and heading towards the left side to tag some of these warp locations before kind of figuring out what the next move is. And in this case, the next move is usually go to the right side for the castle, which is where we're headed. So we're on the lookout for 5 Time Spinner related MacGuffins. We have the Time Spinner wheel, the Time Spinner spindle, and 3 Time Spinner gears, all of which combine to give us access to the final boss at the very end of the game. Until then, we're looking for a lot of different ways to kind of maneuver around the map. We're looking for ways to traverse the different timelines. Right now, we're kind of stuck in the past until we find something that lets us get to the present. And we're looking for a bunch of key cards and stuff to let us kind of maneuver through the present more easily once we get there. In the meantime, like I mentioned earlier with the warp zones, a lot of what we're doing here is getting access to a bunch of locations. Wow, Time Spinner Gear 1. All right, that's 1 out of 5. Getting access to a bunch of locations that we might want to come back to later once we have the tools to traverse them better. Tagging those warp zones, there is a item in the game called the Twin Pyramid Keys, which by default you don't start with, but we've got the flag turned on that lets you start with them. So tagging those warp zones just means that the next time you want to come back to them, all we need to do is find a warp zone and we can travel between them, which we're going to be running into one of those warp zones pretty soon, so you kind of get a sense of what they look like. This is through here, these sort of blue doors. They have this like kind of ominous gray theme with those glowing green triangles there. Oh yeah, double jump lets us get into the moat easy, so we don't have to bring up the drawbridge. Nice, convenient. Eternal Crown, a great piece of equipment. So there's a bunch of stuff that's randomized in the game, right? We have the orbs, which unlock not only your melee attacks, but also different spells and different rings, each of which is its own unlock. And there's also equipment that you can get, armor, helm, and 2 accessory pieces. And then there's stat ups that you can find randomized, health, aura, and sand, which will become relevant later. Hopefully becomes relevant later. This might be a very cursed seed indeed if it doesn't. And then, you know, occasional consumables, potions, and the like. So talking about sand, one of the pieces of the Timespinner wheel, when you get that, it unlocks the time stop mechanic, which is one of the main things this game is famous for. The time stop mechanic not only stops time around you, but also lets you use enemies as platforms, so it's actually a movement mechanic as well. It unlocks a bunch of stuff. Unequipping Maya. Yeah, no, we have wait, which, is that, I don't actually know which familiar that is?
Griffin.
I think I literally never used Griffin in my vanilla run. Wow, poor Griffin. All right, well.
I only did it because Mayef is everywhere, so.
That's true. We should give some of the other familiars. Yes, Eternal Coat. Give some of the other familiars some screen time. I recognize that. So we have the Eternal Coat and the Eternal Crown, 2 very good pieces of endgame equipment. We also have the Umbra Orb that we started with was plus. So we've got some decent, very good combat ability right now, which is really good. It's definitely possible for the randomizer to start out with minus orbs and not good equipment, and you just kind of don't want to take a boss fight until you find something that you can use to kill them. So it's some awkward running around and being like, okay, well, this is technically in logic, but I don't want to do it because it's awkward. Fortunately, we're not stuck in that situation, so that's great. Let's see.
It's definitely really nice starting with a plus orb.
Yeah. Too many orbs where forced difficult boss fights in order to get anything done. But yeah, we're gonna be okay here. Found a blood orb here. Blood orb is one of those kind of unique orbs in that it doesn't go straight out. It doesn't have like a fixed arc. It does a little bit of a homing thing and then comes back to find you, which is, some people like it, some people don't. Personally, I haven't used it too much. I'm happy to see it get some use though. It's a very cool looking orb. So in the storyline, what we are doing, first off, play Timespinner. Let me start out with that. Timespinner is a incredibly queer-coded story about time travel and fighting off empires. It's really good. The writing is great. The relationships between the characters are great. And yeah, play Timespinner. We are following the story of Linnaeus, who is our main character, as she works to defend her village from an empire coming in to take over by going back in time to prevent the empire from finding her village, which, as you all know, always works out great. Going back in time always solves your problems. I think that's pretty consistent across almost every story I've read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It works out for me.
Yeah, right? So there's knock-on complications, and I'm not gonna spoil where it ends up, but Linnaeus is very good at approaching her problems head-on and punching them into submission, which is just really great for a protagonist.
And we did run into another thing that we haven't mentioned yet, but we have traps in this game. We ran into a poison trap.
Yeah, there's some really cool traps in this game. Shout outs to the randomizer developers, Yarno primarily, but also Wef Jebster and Thunderbase have contributed a whole bunch to the rando development, and they've introduced some very, very cool features into the game, on top of what is already a very, very cool game. So we have a boss randomizer turned on. This is the first boss that we're fighting, and the bosses are scaled to the location that you find them. The location that we found this boss is the Golden Idol location, which is one of the earlier boss fights. Not too much damage, but a decent chunk of health. And instead of that boss fight, we're finding Cantorin, which is one of the extremely late game boss fights. One of the things that seems mostly true about some of the late game boss fights is because of their positioning and the amount of damage that they do base, their attacks tend to be a little bit more telegraphed, a little bit easier to avoid. That's especially true for the final boss of the game. But in this case, it's like kind of true for Cantorin. So finding them in a scaled down location where they have less health and less damage kind of makes things a bit easier. And then finding early game bosses in some of the late game locations where they do more damage and have more health can tend to be a bit traumatic sometimes, but a problem sometimes.
Looking at you, Boots.
Right? Final Boots is the worst. Varndegroth is the real problem. Varndegroth is a pain. I will point out Varndegroth when we see him. Nobody likes Varney. This is one of the cooler tricks here. Because you have the dash and you have the double jump, you can make it up there when you would normally need to go further in and stop time to cause a demon to become a platform for you. That's another way that kind of the randomizer allows you to do things sort of in weird orders. Right now, the location we're in is Ilana's Towers, affectionately known as Mom. Okay, that's a light wall. We're going to talk about that. You know what? Let's talk about that first, because it's going to come in handy right now. So this is a location where you need to get more height than a double jump will get you. So light wall, very conveniently, is a way to get infinite height. It allows you to use your aura, that's the blue bar underneath the health, in order to make floating platforms. These also are a surprisingly good tool for combat. They do light damage. There is damage types in this game. They do light damage, which a lot of bosses are weak to, so that's convenient. And also provide a way to gain infinite height. So all of those things that were not necessarily in logic, or maybe questionably in logic, are now very firmly in logic and very, very gettable. So this really unlocks pretty much the entirety of the pass. The only thing we're really looking for in the pass now is going to be a water mask, so we can get all of the underwater stuff. But yeah, going into Ilana's Towers and finding the light wall right there is actually really, really convenient. So Ilana is so kind of the way the storyline works is Lunaeus gets dumped into the past because of a time travel experiment gone wrong, who'da thunk, and is now 1,000 years in the past, where the empire that is responsible for attacking her village is now in the process of taking over the planet that is, not that her village is on, but that is nearby to the planet that her village is on. I don't remember the name of the planet. That's just going to have to, we're just going to have to look at that one.
Or something
oh,
like
right. This one is Windaria, yes. And the other one is Lekayem? I never really figured out how to pronounce that word.
Lachiam.
Lachiam, sure. Yeah.
I don't know. That's how I always pronounce it.
That makes more sense. It's probably easier for anybody who's not a native Hebrew speaker. Uh-oh. Kobo. That's all right. Probably not relevant. Well, we'll see how relevant Kobo is. This is a Winfei Maiden seed.
We hope not. This is a Winfei seed, so who knows?
But yeah, Ilana is one of the members of the opposing army. I think she's royalty, right?
I see you there, Winfei.
I think she's royalty for the Lakiemi people who are here to take over Windaria. Wait, no, that's backwards, isn't it? Isn't she Windarian?
She's from Valette or something like that. She was like exiled to Lachiam or something.
Yeah,
It's been a while since I played the base game.
Right? Yeah. Oh, cool. So this is a great fight. This is one of the later game optional fights. So in theory, very tough, very difficult, cool mechanics. And it turns out you can just kind of sit under this guy, sit under Ifrit, and as long as you position yourself right, he can't hurt you at all. So it's very, very free, regardless of your combat capability. Yeah, good randomizer, good boss random. I guess if you have anything for us, Professor, this might be a good time.
Yeah. Just want to remind everyone why we're here. For Fireside Pride 2024, we're raising money for Point of Pride. Point of Pride is a trans-led 501c nonprofit organization providing life-changing access and life-saving affirmation to trans folks in need of health and wellness care, financial aid, and direct support. If you'd like to donate, ! Donate in chat. And let us know your favorite Timespinner boss if you've played this game before. I haven't, and this is definitely going on my list now.
Oh yeah, this is a fantastic game. Very heavily influenced by old Castlevania games, as you can probably tell. Order of Ecclesia, the DS game, is actually one of the primary influences.
I was definitely getting that Castlevania vibe.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that drew me to this game was kind of the way the minimap and the status screen are organized. Felt very reminiscent of Symphony of the Night. And that's also a game that I have a huge soft spot for.
Speaking of the minimap, there is a nice thing that the developers were kind enough to introduce, or to put in, the developers of the randomizer were kind enough to put into the randomizer itself. This randomizer is very well built into the base game, including Archipelago for multi-worlds, but one of the things that they were nice enough to put in was auto tracking. I don't have the auto tracker itself up, but one of the things that you can do is you can look at the map and you can tell where you are able to go at any point in time. It is very nice. I like it.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good quality of life in this game. So back to the action. We found Water Mask at the top of Ilana's towers. Ilana was hiding away half of the access to the past from us. So Ilana was absolutely money. Ooh, Forbidden Orb is blessed. Anyway, so now that unlocks a lot of locations. And in fact, it unlocks even more locations than it might otherwise. One of the randomizer features is, what's it called?
Rising Tides.
Yeah, Rising Tides, which changes where water is in various places on the map. So we had that courtyard at the bottom of Ilana's towers that had water in it. That doesn't usually have water in it. This area does have water in it and usually has water in it. But there's a bunch of places that could potentially be underwater that aren't in the base game. So getting the Water Mask is not only important and necessary to continue on with the plot, but a very good unlock.
And that also includes final bosses. Final bosses could also be underwater.
Oh yeah, okay. I would lay money that the final bosses are underwater on this seed. It's 33% for any given thing to be swapped from the way it normally is, but the final bosses are just always underwater. That's anecdotally true, even if it's not technically true. So now we are headed over we are in the Lake Serene area, part of the past right now, and we're headed over to the Caves of Banishment, which hold the portal that the Lakiemi are using to invade the planet that we're on. So a big storyline piece here is going to be knocking out that portal, and by virtue of killing all of these people, bosses, killing all of these bosses, don't condone murder. Killing all of these bosses, we're going to be able to change the future and allow ourselves to have access to parts of sort of the Lakiemi war machine, the Emperor's Towers, and the lab that they are conducting a lot of experiments in. So that's where we are on the plot.
Hopefully we don't have to see the lab.
Hopefully we don't have to see the lab. The lab is usually bait. So if you find yourself going to the lab because it feels like a good idea, it's not, don't do it. Yeah, with all the various features of the randomizer, as time goes on, more and more stuff gets put into the item pool, more and more stuff gets allows you to unlock it in different ways from the original base game. So whole swaths of the game, if you have the right flags turned on, just you don't have to necessarily engage with them. Whereas within the base game, obviously all of the territory is relevant. Remember when Lab was always money? Lab used to be always money. Yeah, so in addition to the two time zones that we have access, in addition to the two timelines that we have access to right now, the past and the present, there is also a question mark timeline I refer to as the future, but it is the ancient pyramid. It is very mysterious. Nobody knows what's actually going on over there. And the end goal of the game is to get over there and fight the final boss. Depending on the flags that you have turned on with the randomizer, you might need to go through the lab in order to get there. But with the Unchained Keys flag, instead of being forced to go through... Oh, that's the spindle. Every time I start on a tangent, something comes up. Instead of being forced to go through the lab in order to get to the ancient pyramid, now you can just find a warp to the ancient pyramid. And as long as you have all 5 pieces of the time spinner, you can. Wow. Okay. Thanks, game.
We also got one of the laser access items too.
All right. You can skip the lab entirely and just go straight to the ancient pyramid to fight the final bosses. So, 2 important things were just found. One of them is the time spinner spindle, which is one of the 5 MacGuffins that we're looking for in order to be able to fight the final bosses. Otherwise, the final boss door is just closed. And the other one is the celestial sash. So we're talking about getting infinite vertical, right? We're talking about how convenient it was that Lightwall showed up when it showed up. The problem with Lightwall is it is slow infinite vertical, and it requires you to spend aura, spend MP on it. What if, instead of needing to spend mana in order to get infinite vertical, you just had rocket boots and could zoom straight up as far as you want, very, very fast? Wouldn't that be great? It turns out it is great, and that is what the Celestial Sash unlocks. So, it's an incredible find.
I have said a bunch of times when I've been playing this game that one of the things that I really love about this game is just how fluid the movement is. Like, the movement is like super fluid in this game. I love it.
Absolutely, yeah. You can go a lot of different places. So here we have another feature of the randomizer, quote-unquote feature. This oxygen meter is here because when you kill the boss in this location, it causes an area in the present timeline to be gassy. And without the gas mask, that means that you are in potentially a lot of danger trying to go through that area and pick up stuff that would otherwise be easily in logic. So the oxygen meter there is in fact an oxygen meter. If you run out of oxygen, you will take a lot of damage and maybe die. But also is a reminder that without the gas mask, it is you are making a deliberate choice if you kill whoever is in the mall location.
Yeah, I was debating on whether or not I actually wanted to do that.
There's definitely cases where it's like a good idea to go out of logic, but the only thing that killing that boss unlocks is 2 checks in the present, which we don't currently even have access to yet. So probably a thing that is best saved for when you come back for it later on. But we'll see how Pyro wants to route this. I'm not the one in the driver's seat here.
Maybe if I have like double the health, double my max health, maybe then.
So the orb that we're using right now is the Forbidden Tome. In the vanilla game, this is a very late game thing. You only get this by killing one of the optional post-game bosses. It is very cool. You get to chuck flying swords at enemies. And it also is plus, which means that not only is the melee attack plus, but the ring and the spell are plus. Which means we have plus infinite meatball. The Jin Inferno is the coolest spell in the game. Very high damage, very high aura cost, but it's also got a glitch associated with it where if you fire it fast enough, you don't have to pay the aura for it. So we'll be looking forward to plus Jin Inferno at some point in this seed. And now, what's the plan? Where are we headed, Pyro?
I think I'm gonna go through to the Azure Queen spot. I don't have Fire Source yet, though. I don't think. No, I don't have a Fire Source yet. But
okay.
I'm gonna at least grab what checks I can going through to the Azure Queen spot.
Makes sense. Oh no, Varney at Cantorin.
Oh, we nah.
Lightwall will help, but I think Lightwall was neutral or minus.
It was neutral.
Okay. Yeah, maybe put that one on hold for a bit. Ah, there we go. So there's the next
Zarian Caves. Zarian Caves.
Oh boy. So the warp beacons are your primary way of getting from one time to another. Oh, nice pyro ring. Just in the nick of time. The warp beacons are your primary way for getting from one time period to another. Right now, like I said before, we're in the past. We just picked up the modern warp beacon, which unlocks a warp in the present. And the warp that it unlocked was deep in a late game location that is a hassle to traverse. So we're gonna have to go through that area backwards in order to get access to the rest of the present. So that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Fortunately, we have damage. We have Eternal Code, Eternal Crown. So I don't think it would be as I don't think doing reverse Zarian Caves would be as bad as what it would seem.
Yeah, and you have ranged attacks too, right? Like having the sword is really nice. Having the Forbidden Tome is pretty helpful. So yeah, we're gonna see a couple more checks here. We got one more boss fight, and then probably heading to the present, right?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go to the present after I take care of this.
Sounds like a plan. So here we have Ilana taking the place of Azure Queen. Ilana is the boss fight that you would expect to see at the top of Ilana's towers, and is eerily similar to the Cantorin boss fight that we've already been through. I think they're buds. I think they hang out in real life. But yeah, this is the character that we affectionately refer to as Mom, and by winning this fight, we gain access to what, like 3 checks and a warp?
Oh, hello.
Empire Crown. So this is sort of the end all be all of equipment finds. The Eternal Coat is the best piece of armor bar none. And
we're on the front side of Zarian Cave, not the back side.
oh, that's way more convenient. Oh, nice. Well, that means we can't get into the Zarian Caves even if we wanted to. We don't have the A key card yet. But yeah, Eternal Coat is the best armor, and the Empire Crown is the highest damage output for a Helm piece, which is the primary thing that we're going for. Like, we want to be able to breeze through these boss fights. We want to be able to, 1 or 2 shot enemies. So the most we're looking for out of equipment is damage. There are the occasional utility piece. You find those in accessories more than you do anywhere else. Although there is a helm that reduces your sand usage once you unlock Time Stop, and there's a helm that reduces your aura usage. But Empire Crown, I think, is a great place to be.
Speaking of bosses, you mind if I jump in with a donation real quick?
Give me 2 seconds and then you can jump in with a donation every time. So that was the Timespinner wheel. This is unlocked Time Stop. If you look at the little hourglass in the upper left corner, you'll see that it now has sand in it. It didn't before, now it does. So if you want to show off Time Stop real quick. Yep, it freezes enemies in place and it also allows you to use the enemies as platforms, which is really, really cool. All right, take it away, Professor.
It was timely, because we have an $18 donation from Mark Magus that says, "Good luck, Sinpyro. My favorite Timespinner boss is Ilana."
Ah, great.
Perfect.
Good thing we got to show off that one. We're not necessarily going to see all of the bosses in this game. One of the things that has changed from the vanilla game to this game is the idea of laser items, which we've seen one of so far. But prior to this flag being introduced, the way into the lab was gated by 3 specific bosses in the past, which kind of ensured that you killed every boss in the past because they were all blocking pretty important things. The present was not necessarily as... you don't need to go everywhere in the present as much as you do in the past, especially on an inverted start. Inverted start starts you off in the past, so it's a lot easier to just kill everything there. But now with the laser items, instead of needing to kill those bosses, those items are just in the item pool. So some of those bosses hide maybe 1 check, maybe 0 checks, and feel a lot less relevant in terms of whether or not you need to kill them, or whether or not you need to prioritize killing them in order to unlock other stuff later on.
Well, I can definitely say for certain I know what my favorite boss is and what my least favorite boss is. My favorite boss is Boots. I mean, I love cats anyway, so Boots is just makes sense. Referring to Feline Sentry, that's the actual name of the boss.
Mm-hmm.
My least favorite, especially when I don't have good vertical movement, is Ravenlord.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a common opinion. My favorite boss is actually the Golden Idol. We haven't seen it yet. Partially because I love the story for it, and partially because it is weak to blunt and to light. So just everything that hits hard is going to hit it like an absolute truck. So it's usually a very quick fight, very fun to go.
That
through.
that is actually a really fun fight too.
Mhm. So now that we've gone through Lake Desolation, I imagine we're heading through more of the present area, right? Heading towards the library?
Yep, going towards the library, gonna hit whatever I can in Barnagroth Towers and stuff. Oh, hello.
Ah, we get to fight our first dad-like. So there are 3 bosses that are very similar. This is Emperor Volterillus. There's also Prince Nuvius and Emperor Nuvius, all of whom we fight at various points in the timeline. And they all have very similar abilities, very similar movement patterns. So since Prince Nuvius is actually Dad, not just affectionately known as Dad, he's not affectionately known as anything. We hate that guy.
Bad guy.
But so all 3 of the bosses with very similar mechanics are known as dad-likes. And always happy to see a otherwise annoying boss at the feline sentry spot, since because of the boss scaling, the HP and damage is reduced. So he only has 400 HP, which means it takes like 3 good hits to knock him out, which is just so satisfying. And here we are in the library. So the library is actually really important for plot reasons, and it is likewise important for randomizer reasons because there's like a million checks in here. It's very check dense. So this is a great place to come to once you finally get access to the present. We don't have the tablet, which is important both because learning to read is important and because it unlocks download locations. So we're missing out on 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, between 4 and 7 check locations here in the library that we would only be able to get with tablet. We're also going to see one of the late game boss locations. So, good luck, first and foremost. But this is we have the optional bosses kind of randomized into the boss pool, and they're gated on getting access to certain familiars.
Well,
so this fight...
That is the 3rd laser access.
Ooh, okay, I guess we're going to the lab. This fight is the Ifrit location in vanilla. Oh no! So this is Ravenlord. This is Ravenlord and Ifrit spot. Ravenlord is the other unique, like, late game optional post game boss fight, and seeing this boss at Ifrit's location is not only kind of funny, like French vanilla, but it also really annoying because that means that it's the max possible scaling we can get. Like, this is the most HP and damage scaled we can get for this boss, which is just an annoying boss to fight with this incredibly rough platform and spike-filled arena and all of these movement stuff you gotta do in order to get to him, like just running around all the time. This boss sucks, is what I'm saying. But we do have a lot of power here. The boss is weak to sharp, so the swords are good. The boss is weak to fire, so the pyro ring is good. Yeah, made short work of it.
He was required. He was required.
All right, required Ravenlord at Ifrit. This is a hell of a seed.
Sounds like it. Jerk birds, exactly. Caw jerk birds.
All right, well, the birds can no longer be jerks because they are removed, and you have the D key card also, right? So we can get through here? Excellent.
Yes.
So the 2 big key cards for the present are D and B. D allows you out of the library heading to the right, and B allows you into the lab area.
Now, I will say there is one good thing that Ravenlord gave us, and that is the throw stun trap.
Oh, no lies. That's actually one of the funnest additions to this thing in recent memory. Like, traps were always kind of meh for me, and then the stun trap got introduced, and I'm like, oh, I want every check to just be a stun trap.
Okay.
Gear 2.
One
So we're
more
at 4 of
left.
5, right? You have the
Yeah.
wheel, the spindle, and 2 gears?
Yep. 2 gears, spindle and wheel.
Cool. We still don't have the mysterious warp beacon, which is the way that we'd access the pyramid. But we do have access to the lab, so it might be that it is required to go through the lab instead of getting the warp beacon access to the ancient pyramid. But that is yet to be proven one way or the other. But yeah, so we're still looking for that 5th time spinner piece, and then hopefully we'll find the mysterious warp beacon. But if not, then we're in for a trip through the lab, which we do currently have access to. Waffling. You don't want to check the sewers? It's not the sewers, the Siren's Cave? Yeah.
No, not really.
Granted. So the...
I probably should, though.
It's, this is the decision that you are allowed to make. You do have the elevator keycard, so you can do it. You can also check out the rest of the towers here. This is an area that is normally a fairly early game location in vanilla. Vanilla, obviously, you start in the present and then get kicked into the past, as opposed to the randomizer settings that we have enabled, which start you in the past, and then you eventually have to find your way back to the present. This is an area before that time spinner accident, so this is fairly early on in normal gameplay, so the enemies aren't that hard, and the traversal's not that hard. It's pretty easy to get from place to place here. Which is kind of a reason to be here, honestly. Like, the checks are pretty dense. There's a lot of chests here, and pretty easy to go through.
Got one of the best rings in the game, too.
Which one did you just find?
Oh, wrong place. Star of Lachium.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that unlocks the ability to get 3 attacks instead of 2. So now you can actually see 3 tomes orbiting Lunaeus here. Normally you have 2 attacks with their own separate cooldown timers. Now you have 3 attacks with their own separate cooldown timers, which is a lot of swords.
I think I'm gonna do the sewers before I do the labs.
I agree with this decision. Quick tag of the warp here, and then on our way towards the Siren Cave, also known as the Upper Sealed Cave. So a lot of the territory in both of the maps line up with each other, which makes sense considering it is the same world, just divided up by 1,000 years. So here in the present, we have the Upper Sealed Caves, and in the past, they were the Upper Caves of Banishment. They are both known as the Siren's Cave, not for any good reason, but that's how it is, unfortunately. So we have the past Siren's Cave and the present Siren's Cave. The present Siren's Cave does not have any sirens in it, but the past Siren's Cave does, which is probably why it's called the Siren's Cave. I don't know why the present is called the Siren's Cave, but there you go.
They just never got around to renaming it, I guess.
Sirens went extinct, and now it's in memoriam of the sirens.
Pretty much everything went extinct.
That's true. You know,
On the
whatever they did to
surface.
this planet was not good for the environment.
No, it wasn't. There's a lesson here, folks. I just don't know what it is.
I couldn't tell you. I've never learned a thing in my life. So the green water here does not actually indicate anything particularly bad about the water, other than it's probably not fun to hang out in. It's not poisonous or nothing. Maybe that's just because we have a water mask, though. If you went in there without a water mask, maybe it's terrible. Alright, nothing good here. Labward ho.
Oh, okay. Just warp it back. That's not where I expected to be.
So now we are heading towards the... Okay, so now we're heading towards the Infinite Gyre. This is another, like, post-game optional location with rooms that are actually randomized in the base game. Like, the base game rooms are randomized, so they're also randomized in this game. And this is how you get to the otherwise... Ooh, that is a nice find. I was full on expecting this to be nothing but like high potions. But this is the way that you would get to the optional post-game boss fights, Ravenlord and Ifrit, in the base game. So in this game, what it does, in the randomizer rather, it has 3 checks. Every 2 rooms will give you a check, and then there's 2 more rooms at the end that'll take you to a portal out, but you can also just warp shard out. Man, those are some good swords.
I love it when Forbidden Tome rolls plus.
Same. I am also a Forbidden Tome enjoyer. Anything that lets me shoot enemies from across the screen, I am in love with. All right, so the tablet is enables literacy. It lets you go back to not only the library and get a couple of checks, but it also unlocks, I think, 5 I think 5 checks in the lab as well.
Does unlock quite a few checks in the lab too.
So this is a really great find for. This has actually been like remarkably convenient. Multiple times now, we've been like, oh, we need a thing before it's a good idea to go to this location. And then we immediately find that thing right after going to that location. So it's like, okay, yeah, just go there, and you know the goods will be there. Hey, Gin Inferno! All right, it's meatball time.
Gin Inferno was so much fun.
Excellent.
Except when you get a neurotoxin trap and you... Oh, there's
There's the stun trap.
there's the stun trap.
I hope you like getting thrown around. But yeah, Gin Inferno. So once we get in a position to show it off, it's gonna look real good. Gin Inferno, one of the most powerful spells. I think the most powerful spell in the base game.
It's glitched.
Yeah, right. The downside of it is the high aura cost, but it does have a glitch that is kind of easier to use than to not use. Wow, nice stun trap. Time save. Wherein if you fire another one off while the first Gin Inferno meatball is still on screen, the second one won't cost any mana. Alas, we've been neurotoxined, so it'll be a bit before we see another meatball. But yeah, we are on our way towards the lab wherein the Lakiemi scientists have done absolutely terrible war crimes, and we're gonna go show them what for. And this is probably another good time for a quick break. Professor Birch, what you got for us?
Well, in the meantime, we had a $100 donation from Anonymous with no comment.
Thank you.
And that $100 donation went to the Stray Pet the Robot incentive. Which, if you haven't seen that, it's an adorable little animation in the game. With like every single interaction with the robot. So keep getting those donations in, especially for that incentive and all the other incentives that we have going on. I also wanted to ask you a question, because you mentioned like finding all the items like perfectly. I know like with logic is also a big part of randomizers. Like, is there a way to control the logic in the
There kind of. There are a bunch of flags that dictate sort of where not like where stuff can be found, but like what kind of stuff is in the item pool, which sort of changes where you're necessarily going to be able to find stuff. But there's nothing really preventing, you know, your source of vertical from being on the other side of the map from the place that needs vertical, as long as you can get to it without the vertical that you need.
Yeah, as far as I know, Plando doesn't exist in Timespinner Rando yet.
I mean, there's a way to do it with Archipelago.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Archipelago actually has a lot of really neat features if you go deep into how you set up your settings page. But yeah, we're kind of going through this area. There's this is the factory where the feline sentry is constructed. So you're seeing a lot of robot cat parts. Meteor Trap is powering the factory.
That's funny.
And these are some of the experiments that have now been freed since we depowered the lab. So you gotta depower the lab in order to open up some of the laser gates. This is actually another setting that's coming soon to a Timespinner randomizer near you, is Laser Rando, which will have those different laser gates within the lab as items. Oof. So this is Zarian. Everybody say hello to Zarian. Zarian, I think, is not actually the bird skeleton. I think Zarian is the moth inside the bird skeleton's ribcage. So while this boss is a jerk, it is not a jerk bird, for the record. So this is another one of those extremely late game bosses that you kind of hate to see in a late game boss location, because with extra damage and extra HP, this is just a real hassle to fight. But with the power of Meatball, anything is possible.
554 damage per hit. I will take it.
Yeah, that'll go far. Ooh. Time Worn Warp Beacon.
That's
All
for
right.
the past. Rip.
Yeah, so the Warp Beacon settings have 3 Warp Beacons in the pool, 1 for each of the 3 time periods. And even though we started in the past and have already completed the past pretty much, there is still a Warp Beacon for the past in the logic pool, so that's why we're finding that. So now we're finding, let's see.
Oh.
Yeah, nothing. There's still a couple of checks in the past that you can go to.
I forgot about Waterfall and Bombardiers.
Yeah, you know what they say about Waterfall.
Yeah. And Bombardiers too, funny enough.
Yeah, I feel like Bombardiers hasn't quite made it into sort of the collective consciousness of randomizer players the way that Waterfall has. Like, it hasn't had, you know, a Waterfall moment the same way that Waterfall has in some of the tournaments. But yeah, Bombardiers also a check that is very easy to skip while you're in that area, and then you've got to remember to come back to it. Waterfall never has anything. We've got Waterfall deniers in chat. Unbelievable.
Well,
so this is the Timespinner.
We're gonna
now.
go see if we can go prove them right or wrong.
Yeah, all right. Sounds like a plan. So the boss that we just fought unlocked the Timespinner in the lab, which without the mysterious warp beacon is going to be what we're going to need to use in order to get access to the ancient pyramid. We're still looking for that 5th Timespinner piece. Still looking for Timespinner gear number 3. And if we find a mysterious warp beacon on that journey, so much the better. But if not, we have everything we need in order to get to the ancient pyramid regardless.
All right,
All right.
Waterfall had nothing.
Waterfall had nothing. Just this once. And Bombardiers, is Bombardiers going to be gear 3? Mysterious warp beacon.
It's our pyramid access without one.
All right.
But
All right.
It's seeming like we had to go through labs anyway. Wait, we still got one more left here. Might as well finish out the pass while we're here.
Oh, right. Courtyard was underwater, so you couldn't get it when you
Yep.
went through it the first time. Okay. Yeah, let's go check this one last check, and that's everything in the past, right?
Should be, yeah. Well,
Great.
yeah, that'll be everything in the past.
Cool. And then with the Mysterious Warp Beacon, there are checks in the Ancient Pyramid. So the Mysterious Warp Beacon is going to let us go take a look at those, even though we don't have the 5th Timespinner piece in order
About
to...
regret just anybody?
So we've been through a lot of places, right? So at this point, Zarian's Cave is a big location that we haven't been to yet. We don't currently have access to it because we don't have the A key card, but that is a location. There's the Emperor's Towers in the present, Mom's Towers in the past, Dad's Towers in the present, and those have a bunch of checks in them. And there's the Ancient Pyramid, which we are now going through. So this is the last location in the game. The enemies here are a hassle. They have a lot of HP. They deal a lot of damage. But fortunately at this point, we've got enough levels under our belt. We've got enough equipment that dealing with them is pretty easy.
Well, at least final bosses aren't underwater.
Yeah, that's nice.
And neither is regret. Oh, thank God.
It is dry regret. Not that that's much better.
Right.
So this is the vanilla location of the Celestial Sash. It is very, very far down in that long pit, and then you gotta fight through these enemies in order to get here. As you can see, it's a lot easier to get when you already have a Celestial Sash. But it's a long sequence of enemies to fight through, and then you gotta go all the way back through those enemies if there's anything good here. So even when you find something you want, you still regret coming down here. Thus, regret.
Yes, regret lived up to its name.
Always does. So there's 2 more checks here in the Ancient Pyramid. And See if it has anything good. If it has anything good, that's it. We're on our way to the final bosses. Otherwise, we have what? Dad's Towers is next?
Yep. I was thinking about it earlier. I was like, oh, are we gonna have to go to way up there?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, you
Dad's
got the
Towers
sash,
is
so
what's
it's not really
left.
that bad.
That's true. At least with the sash, it's not as bad. Oh, all right.
All right, that is all of the Ancient Pyramid. And there is another warp location right here at the Ancient Pyramid entrance. We did the entirety of the pyramid backwards, for the record.
Am I missing anything here? No.
Still no A. You do have access to the B keycard gated room in the elevator towers. So that's
that's right, because I have tablet now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
One more onesie twosie check.
Yeah.
But I like going through here and seeing more of what there is to see. There's a lot of text here in the towers.
Especially with these flags, you didn't really get to see towers that much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you know what? I'm gonna do this just for Winfei. Where?
You found
Where
the
is
door.
it?
All right.
Where are you?
Stormlight? Or
Wait, what was I looking for? I don't even remember.
were you looking for the wind spell?
Maybe, I don't know. I have Stormeye, don't I? Yes.
Yeah, you
Okay,
do.
where is? There it is. There we go. All right, this is for Winfei.
So Wind Orb is the fastest orb in the game. And I believe it is actually only limited by how fast you can press the button. I think there's no internal cooldown on it. So you're limited by like the frame rate of the game, I guess.
Yeah, and I play with auto fire, so it goes fast.
Yeah, it goes fast. That's I think auto fire is limited. It's not literally shooting one every 60th of a second. But if you can mash that fast, I think you can get that many wind attacks. And then we've also got the icicle ring attached to it, which is spitting out little icicles every time you make an attack. So it's very fast, lots of attacks, very cool.
Get more onesie twosie checks opened up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the C key card opens what 1, 2, 2. Actually, just 2. Opens the Varndegroth location and a little closet in the bottom of the elevator towers.
Yeah. All right, way up there.
Here we are. Oh no!
No!
Oh,
No!
We've been really sending you everywhere this
Not
seed.
like this. Oh, that's so great. All right, well, we're all the way up here.
Uh-huh.
Might as well just finish it out.
So the A key card is the one key card that no randomizer player likes to see. It opens 2 locations, which are, I'm not going to say affectionately because there is no affection involved, but have been nicknamed Spider Hell. And it also opens the Zarian Caves, which is another one of those like really late game, kind of a hassle to traverse kind of locations. So if you are getting the A key card, it is unfortunately likely that it is gating something relevant. Which means we're gonna go see some spiders, I think.
French vanilla.
Hey, this is Prince Nuvius. Prince Nuvius, yes. So you have Prince Nuvius as Emperor Nuvius. One of the dad-likes replacing another dad-like. Of course, as far as the normal timeline is concerned, this is where you would be fighting Emperor Nuvius, the current emperor of the Lakiami Empire. Instead, we are fighting his younger form, Prince Nuvius, who is basically the same, but with a few less attacks. And that's it for him.
Exactly, Winfei. Hey, at least it wasn't I Spy, because Oculus Ring was right here.
Yeah, that would have been a very late Oculus Ring. What a hassle this would have been on tournament settings. Wow.
Oh boy, this is awkward.
All right, so first Spider Hell is in the lab. I think that's where we're heading now.
Yeah.
There's going to be another Spider Hell in the elevator towers. And then there is all of Zarian Caves, which is going to be the most checks for the time spent, but is still a hassle to traverse. Definitely a pain to go through. I think you need to be left and down. Yeah, you can go this way though. I mean, at this point, you might as well.
Oh wait, I went the wrong way. Then. Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, you might as well just go up and over though. You're so close to the power room.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not used to going. I'm not used to going. Oh wait, I can't go there.
Oh, you can't even go back this way?
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, that's blocked off. Well,
Yeah, it shows
okay
how often I
then.
do that.
Yeah, I don't often come back this way, so.
Yeah, I
That was
likewise.
close
I
on
usually
my
do.
part.
Yeah, I usually do Spider Hell either the first time through or not at all. So.
Preferably the not at all.
Yeah, right. So this is an A keycard door. We didn't go through this the first time here because we didn't have a keycard. But welcome to Hell Spiders. Fortunately, we have Jin Inferno and a decent amount of aura, so they're not going to be as much of a hassle as they might otherwise be. But those red lines are completely impassable. There is no way past a spider other than killing the spider. So you can't damage boost through them. You can't get around the wall. They're just a huge pain.
And they're wait, what did I miss up here?
Experiment 13. Did you peek it?
Oh yeah, I peeked it. Never mind. Okay, yeah. No, it was Max.
I'd believe that. Maximilian
Oh.
stand up.
Yeah, the Hellgazers are even more fun on when you have Enemizer on.
Oh, right, the enemy randomizer settings. That is something that I think I played with once and then never again.
Oh, that's not what I wanted.
We have Colossal Blade? Colossal Blade will do it.
Light Wall. Yeah, we have Colossal Blade. Yeah, we do. I was looking for Light Wall. I was like, where is Light Wall? Apparently I'm out of aura. Okay. Classic.
Throwing too many meatballs around.
Yeah. Seriously. Oh, wait.
So yeah, you can see how annoying Hell Spiders are.
And you know,
Hellgazers.
there's also the B room here that I can do, but I am not walking back through that.
Yeah, totally fair. Absolutely respect that decision.
Whoops. I almost messed up.
Alright, so a couple more checks. I think this is the last one that's open before going to Zarian's caves.
We also have the C unlocks.
Oh yeah, the 2 C doors. Okay. So we can see what's in Varnagroth's boss fight, and we can go to that one little closet at the bottom of the elevator towers.
Although I probably should.
Yeah, I think this might be a good time to hand it off another for a few more minutes. Professor, you got anything for us?
All I have is a reminder that we still have the virtual hide glide poll open for the random seed. So if you are enjoying the randomizer action here, it's going to get even more random 2 more runs from now. So be sure to get a donation in for that.
So this is the Golden Idol fight. One of the more fun boss fights because I just really like the mechanics. But making short work of it in the Varnagroth location, a fairly early boss fight location, and Jin Inferno hitting for like 400 a hit. So yeah, made short work of that. So one more check here in the elevator towers, and then the sealed caves.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's pointing to Zarian.
It's sure looking that way. Really, a nice tour of the game, showing off all the different biomes. Get to see everything. Oh yeah, there it is. Definitely going to Zarian caves.
I guess it's a good thing I have the warp for that. Although I should probably pick up some more warp shards just in case.
That seems reasonable. Yeah, one last warp shard. We'll go visit the Merchant Crow. Merchant Crow, the shop can be randomized, doesn't have to be. But we also have a setting that is turned on to make sure that the Merchant Crow always has warp shards.
So just out of curiosity, how are we doing on time? I forgot.
We're about an hour in?
57:55.
Where are we at?
58 minutes.
15 minutes. Okay. Yeah, we got time. We're doing the whole grand tour of Lockium.
Yep. So you can already see some of the things that make this place just a real pain to go through. The geography is a mirror of the Maw Caves, the Caves of Banishment. So there's, some spikes around, some jumping around. The mushrooms here are much more powerful, and poison is always annoying. Yo, there it is. Cool. So that's go mode. That is everything we need in order to beat the game. We have the warp to the mysterious. We have the mysterious warp beacon, which warps us to the ancient pyramids. So we don't have to go breaking time through the lab.
Yeah,
and we have
you're right, Winfei. It's a good thing we didn't have to stick around.
Yeah, just kind of peek into Zarian's caves. We're like, hey, anybody in here? Oh, a time spinner piece. Great. And we go into the final 2 boss fights of the game. So we're here running Emperor Nubius, our final dad-like, so we got to see all 3 iterations. Yeah, Jin Inferno's gonna be great here. This is a fairly high health, high damage location, so you do need to be like a little careful, but Jin Inferno's gonna be more than enough. And then after this, we'll have one more boss fight, and that's gonna be all she wrote. Fortunately, you have a lot of potions in order to make up for the high aura cost of the Jin Inferno. There we go. Boss number 1 down.
Oh.
And here we have the Maw cosplaying as Nightmare.
Show this off. Now I just gotta find my light wall again. Oh, there it is.
So this boss fight is very cool because with time stop, you can run up right against it, and this is a safe spot. All of its attacks are not going to hit you. They're going to be like just barely off to the side. Normally this is like a pixel perfect position to get in, but with time stop you can just walk forward.
Time will be coming up very soon. And time. Woo!
And there you go. That is the Time Spinner randomizer. We have Lunaeus here ready to report on how many concussions she suffered from hitting her head on ceilings.
15.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Get your exclamation marks in chat, folks. This is our typical GG for the Time Spinner community, because Lunaeus' first text box is gasp.
It's like exclamation. Hey, what just happened?
Yeah, there are story reasons for everything you're seeing now, and I'm not going to explain them. Go play the game. It's great.
And Wishlist Time Spinner 2.
Yeah, Wishlist Time Spinner 2. It's currently in progress. If you really want to watch it get made, you can. There are streams from the dev, Lunar Ray Games on Twitch, and I think once a week he does a dev stream of Time Spinner 2 in development. And game is looking like it's shaping up to be a real banger, so definitely go check that out.
And where can chat find the 2 of you?
I stream kind of sporadically. I'm at twitch.tv/sin_pyro. I do randomizer content. I'm currently learning a speed run for the HD 2D remake of Dragon Quest III. I might stream a little Noita as well. I play a lot of stuff.
I am Jim the Eternal, twitch.tv/Jim the Eternal. I stream variety. I do randomizers, Metroidvanias, strategy games, puzzle games, and if anybody is looking at Kellerman's emote in chat, Tunic is my favorite game of all time forever.
Great. Thank you once again to the 2 of you for showing off Time Spinner. It was a delight. GG's.
Yeah. Hell of a game.
Thank you for
Hell of a game.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm it's on my list now.
Yeah, thanks. I want to say to the Power Up of Pride community, thank you for having me once again, Jim. I really appreciate you coming in and doing comms for me.
Oh yeah, I love
blast.
talking about games, so this is great.
Yeah, my only other shout outs to Lunar Ray Games for making a fantastic game. and working on what looks like it's going to be a really great sequel as well. Thanks to Yarno for being the original developer of this randomizer, and I know there are other people that are working on it, like WefJebster and them. And thank you to the Timespinner community in general. You guys are all just fantastic.
Yeah, quick shout out to pretty much everybody in chat right now for supporting Timespinner and for supporting Fireside Pride.
The community came out in force. Love to see it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's it for us.
That's it for me.
Yeah.
Trans rights are human rights, people.
Trans rights. And with that, chat, it is now the end of my shift, my first hosting shift ever, actually. So thank you all for being here, and I had a great time. I'm now going to leave you in the lovely, wonderful hands of Von Yvonne, who will be your host for the next couple of runs. I will see, but this is not the end of me for this weekend. I will be back tomorrow noon, my time at least, for some more fun. And I will see you there. Keep supporting the charity. Keep donating. Keep being you. Yeah. Gonna end off on that. Keep being you. Anyway, love you each. Peace.